Turn off your lights. Make sure your doors and windows are locked. Things are about to get spooky. Watching his wife dangle their squealing newborn over the sink, he immediately called 911 as she fed one of its kicking legs into the garbage disposal. When the police knocked and the garbage disposal gurgled blood, he announced, "When I click my fingers, you will be fully wide awake." Someone who looks exactly like me has been visiting my clients, by DxrkMilku. My name's Jay, short for something longer, but no one really uses it. I work as a pest control tech in a mid-sized California city. It's not glamorous, but it pays alright, and I meet a lot of people. Most of my clients are regulars, elderly couple, college students, sometimes a landlord who wants me to pretend I don't see the roaches. I live alone in a small apartment complex. It's pretty tight-knit. Everyone knows each other, waves, asks about your dog if you don't have one. It's the kind of place where if someone steals your Amazon package, someone else already has it on video. That's why what's been happening lately doesn't make sense, because everyone here knows me. It started 2 weeks ago. I had just finished a late job and got back around 9:30 p.m. I was walking up to my unit when Marie, my neighbor across the hall, peeked out and said, "Hey, you're back early." I blinked. "Oh, what do you mean?" She looked a little confused. "Didn't you just leave like 10 minutes ago? I saw you walk down the stairs. You even looked at me when I waved." I hadn't been home all day. I hadn't even seen Maria that week. I shrugged it off. Maybe she mistook someone else for me, but that little feeling, the one that makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, didn't go away. The day after that happened, I went to work like usual. It was already 95 degrees, not counting the reflective heat bouncing off the stucco and gravel around me. One of those dry, breath sticks to your throat mornings where the sun feels like it's trying to kill you. I was midway through a backyard perimeter treatment, nothing fancy, holding the spray hose with one hand and brushing a cobweb off a meter box with the other. Typical stuff. I had one AirPod in, mostly for music, but also in case dispatch called. In my line of work, it's not unusual to get a last-minute route change, cancellation, or urgent add-ons. When I felt my phone buzz in my pocket, I didn't think much of it. I figured it was the office rerouting me again, or maybe one of the new hires needing help. But when I pulled it out, I saw 5 missed calls, all from the same number, Dan M. Now, Dan's one of those clients who actually makes the job better. He's been on my route for over a year. Bi-monthly service, always punctual, always cool. Ex-military guy, early 50s, solid build, very yes sir, no sir kind of energy. But also the kind of man who'll say, "Life's too short, you want a beer?" while showing you his freshly waxed 76 Stingray Corvette in a spotless garage lined with tools he probably doesn't even need to use. His house is custom built, clean, white stone with a wide yard, tall palms, full security system, and a flag on the porch that hasn't moved an inch in 5 years. He runs a logistics business and could retired by now, but says he works to stay sharp. Same reason he talks shop with me every time I stop by. He likes to know the gear we used, what pests are acting up, whether the weather affects treatment. "Keeps me grounded," he once told me. Dan never calls unless something's actually wrong, so I stepped into the shade, took out my AirPod, and called him back. "Hey Dan," I said when he picked up. "Everything all right?" "Yeah, hey Jay," he answers, his voice kinda distracted like he was walking. Sorry about blowing up your phone. I just wanted to check something real quick. Sure, what's up? You didn't come by this morning, did you? That threw me off. To your house? Yeah. No, you're not on my schedule this week. I got you next month. He let out a short breath like he was relieved, but still not settled. Thought so. Just wanted to make sure. Why? Well, I was hanging out around 8:30 to go to the warehouse, and I saw someone walking around the side of the house. Looked exactly like you. Company shirt, sprayer on the shoulder, AirPod in. Did a full walk like you always do. Didn't knock, didn't say anything. Just started checking things. I blinked. You sure it wasn't another tech? Sometimes we do sub-coverage if the office messes up. Nope, he said firmly. You're the only one I've ever had, and I told the office that. No subs, no fill-ins, just Jay. That was true. I remember the note on his file. Client prefers only assigned tech. No schedules under 2:30 p.m. due to work. I don't even allow service before 2:30, Dan added. You know that. I'm never home before then. I stepped out from under the overhang and paced towards the gate, lowering my voice. Dan, I swear, I haven't been near your place today. You're not on my list, not even on an add-on. There was a pause on his end. I hear the beep of his truck door opening in the background. I thought maybe I'd screwed up my schedule or forgot to cancel something, he added. But I just checked everything. No texts, no emails, nothing on the app. And I know I didn't pay for anything today. You want to send me the ring footage? I asked. Could be someone from a different company doing a neighbor's house and walked through by mistake. He let out a slow, unsettling laugh. Nah, kid. You don't get it. It was you. Same company shirt, same gloves, sprayer. Did the full walk, just like always. Even went around back and checked that hidden bait box behind the AC unit. Nobody knows that one's even there. That made my stomach drop a little. You're saying he did the whole exterior? I asked. Checked the boxes, the traps, sprayed everything? Everything. Like he knew the layout, same routine, and I mean, if I didn't know better, I say you'd already been here. He paused. I'm not losing it, by the way. I'll send the clip, you'll see. And then, in typical Dan fashion, he tried to laugh it off. Hell, I might be older than you, but I'm not losing my damn mind yet. You'll see what I mean. We hung up, and I stood there for a moment trying to convince myself that it had to be a mistake. But I knew the route. I knew my schedule. And no one else on my team had Dan's house. And yet, someone had gone there in the morning in my uniform and done my job. About 10 minutes later, while I was finishing up a job on the next street over, Dan texted me the ring clip. This the guy you know? I paused in the shade of a mesquite tree, wiping my gloves and my pants, and tapped the video. It started like any other service recording. You see the front of Dan's house, nice and quiet, shadows still long from the morning sun. The timestamp read 8:34 a.m. Then, from the left of the frame, I saw someone walking into view. Same Navy company shirt, black work pants, gloves, hose slung over the shoulder just like I wear it. He even moved like me. Kind of quick, efficient, not casual, but not rushed either. He reached down, checked the bait box near the garage base, gave the corner a spray, then moved down the path out of frame. I watched it twice. I'll be honest, I almost replied, "Yeah, that's me," just to put it to rest. It was that convincing, but it wasn't me. There was something, I don't know, off. For one, I never lube my hose over my left shoulder. Always the right, it's just muscle memory. This guy? Left. The sprayer was the same model, same color, but the hose looked newer, like it hadn't been beat up in 100 backyards yet. I zoomed in. His face didn't come through clearly. Hat pulled low, glare hitting the lens just right. But I swear to God, he had my build, my posture, even that slight limp I had ever since I twisted my ankle on a basement stairway last winter. It was like watching footage of myself from some other day I couldn't remember. Then something else clicked. He didn't knock, didn't even glance at the door. I always knock first, even when I know no one's home. Company policy, but also common courtesy. That's something Dan would have noticed right away. But what got me the most was how he walked straight towards the side gate, no hesitation. And when he disappeared around back, Dan had written, "Went right to the AC unit, checked the hidden station, didn't even pause." The bait station? It's completely hidden. Most people miss it even when I point it out. No tech besides me should have known it was there. I texted back, "That's not me." Dan responded a few minutes later, "I figured. Just weird, man. Thought I was losing it for a second. Let me know if the company sent someone by mistake. I'm not trying to get double charged." I promised I'd call the office, told him I'd double check everything and let him know. He gave me a thumbs up emoji like he was already moving on. After finishing 2 more stops, I pulled into the shade of a cracked parking lot behind a strip mall. The sun was relentless, beating down even through the thin breeze sneaking between buildings. I rolled down the window a bit, leaned back in the driver's seat, and grabbed my phone. I didn't want to make a big deal, but something about Dan's call kept rattling in my head. So I dialed dispatch. The line clicked over quickly. A friendly voice answered right away. "Thank you for calling company name. This is Sam. How can I help you?" I cleared my throat, trying to sound casual. "Hey Sam, it's Jay. I just wanted to check something real quick." "Oh hey Jay, sure, what's up?" "I had a client, Dan M, says he saw someone at his place this morning, but I wasn't scheduled there today. Just wanted to double check if anyone else was booked for his property." There was a brief pause and I could hear her typing. "Alright, let me pull that up. Okay, looks like you're right. Dan's not on the schedule today. No add-ons, no reroutes for his address." I ran a hand through my hair, feeling a little more confused. "Okay, thanks. When was my last appointment with him?" "Looks like last service was about 6 weeks ago. Everything was marked complete." I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. "Yeah, that sounds right. He's usually on a bi-monthly schedule." "Exactly. No charges or exceptions today. You sure you're feeling okay? You sound a little off." I chuckled softly, trying to shake the tension. "Yeah, just a little confused. Client thought someone else came by. You know how it is." "Yeah, totally. If you want me to flag it or double check anything else, just let me know." "Will do. Thanks, Sam." We hung up and I leaned back, staring at the cracked dashboard. The pit of my stomach hadn't gone away. It was about a week later when my phone buzzed with a call from the office, right when I was down to my last 3 stops of the day. "Jay, we need you to swing by Miss Ramirez's place again," the dispatcher said. "She filed a complaint. Said you didn't spray, just announced yourself, walked the backyard, de-webbed a few spots, left the tag, and took off." I froze for a second. "Wait, what? That's not right. I always spray her place. We've been regulars for months." "We know, but she insists," Sam said. "So we added her to your schedule for reservice. If you want, I can give you the details." I ran my hand through my hair, my mind racing. Customers sometimes want free services or mess with you to get extra, but this felt off. When I got there, I pulled up and took a deep breath before knocking. Miss Ramirez opened the door and looked a little tense. I kept my tone even and professional. "Hi, Miss Ramirez. I'm here for reservice. The office mentioned that there was some concern about the last visit. Can you tell me what the issue was?" She nodded, biting her lip. "Thank you for coming back. It's just, my son and I noticed you didn't check the bait boxes or spray the bag properly. You only de-webbed and left the tag." I pulled out my phone and checked the notes and photos for the last visit. According to my records, I did a spray of the entire yard and checked all the bait stations the last time. She looked frustrated but unsure. "I don't know what happened, but it didn't seem like a full service I was expecting." I stayed calm, trying to reassure her. "I'm the only technician assigned to your route. I want to make sure everything's done right." She nodded slowly. "I just thought you should know." We stood there for a moment in silence, the summer heat heavy around us. I nodded slowly, keeping my voice steady. "Okay, Miss Ramirez, I'm sorry you're upset. Let me go ahead and get the service done properly this time. Thank you for your patience." She gave a small relieved smile. As I grabbed my gear and headed out back, I couldn't help but pull out my phone again. I flipped through the photos I had taken during the last visit. Clear shots of the wet marks on the ground where I had sprayed. Close-up of the bait stations I'd checked. Even the tag I left on the door. Everything was there, crystal clear. It was disappointing, to say the least. Sometimes when you're very nice to customers, go the extra mile, they still do stuff like this. I shook my head and started the perimeter again, trying to push the doubt aside. But the nagging feeling wouldn't quit. I wrapped up Miss Ramirez's service in about 35 minutes. I was thorough this time, more out of frustration than anything. Checked all her bait stations, hit the fence line and foundation, swept the webs, and even double covered the shaded corners that usually don't need it. Just so there would be no confusion next time. Once I finished, I went to her door, rang the bell, and took a half step back. She answered like nothing had happened, polite but stiff. I kept it professional. "Hi, Miss Ramirez. I just wanted to let you know that the reservice is complete. I took extra care today, checked all the bait stations, and gave your fence line a solid barrier. Thank you for your patience." She nodded. "I appreciate it. Sorry for the trouble. I wasn't trying to get you in any trouble. I just wasn't sure if everything had been done last time." "No worry at all," I said. "It happens." She lingered at the door a second, like she wanted to say something else, then just gave me a quick smile and said, "Have a good day, hon." I wrapped up my last few stops and was off the clock by late afternoon. On the way home, I stopped at a gas station, grabbed a sugar-free energy drink, and sat in my truck for a few minutes with the AC cranked. My boots were damp with sweat, my brain foggy. I just needed 5 minutes to decompress. Mrs. Ramirez's complaint, Dan's weird call, and the tag photo, the early morning version of me he swore he saw. It was all simmering in the back of my head, but I brushed it off. Long week. Maybe things were just overlapping weirdly. By the time I pulled into the lot of my apartment complex, the sun was low and orange, casting everything in that soft, sleepy glow. I live in a 45-unit complex, not huge, but close enough that you could hear your neighbors through the walls if they got company or a loud TV. As I got out and walked up, I caught the familiar smells of dinner wafting from a cracked window a few doors down, something garlicky. Another neighbor's TV was blaring sports commentary in Spanish, and two kids were arguing on the stairwell, their voices bouncing off the stucco. I stepped inside and dropped my keys on the shoe rack by the door, the one with the hangers, and immediately glanced towards the living room. Empty. That's when I realized it. My dog wasn't in his usual spot. Every single day, without fail, he's curled up on the couch waiting for me. Yeah, I know, he's not supposed to be there. But he's my first son. I love him, so I don't really mind. Scooby? I called softly. No answer, no sound of claws ticking on the floor, no tail thumping. I walked deeper inside, my boots heavy against the quiet. I set my lunchbox on the kitchen counter and mentally noted to put the leftover sandwich and snacks in the fridge. But right now, I had one priority. I stepped into the hallway, and there he was, laying down, half in shadow, watching me. Not scared, not hurt, just still, like he had been there for a while. I crouched. You all right, bud? He gave me a slow blink and a single tail thump. No whine, no excitement, just low energy acknowledgement. I walked over and ran a hand over his head, down his back. He was warm, breathing normal, just acting weird. A minute later, he stretched and got up like nothing was wrong. Trotted over to the water bowl and lapped a bit, then hopped up on the couch like he was reclaiming his throne. That's more like it. I exhaled and flipped the living room TV on, just for background noise, then leaned down and unlaced my boots. I headed straight for the shower, stripping out of my uniform and stepping under the hot water, letting the stress of the day rinse off me. The quiet hum of the bathroom fan and the steam filled the space like a foggy cocoon. 15 minutes later, towel around my waist, I walk into my room to grab some comfortable clothes, reach for the drawer. Then I saw it. Laying on top of my dresser, one of my work shirts, laid out flat, clean, smooth, like it had been freshly pressed or folded, not tossed there or pulled from a pile, placed. I blinked at it, heart knocking a little harder in my chest. It wasn't just any shirt, it was the old one, the temporary one they gave me when I first started. The one with my full name on it before I changed to just J. The company lets you choose whatever name you want stitched into your uniform. Most of us go with short names or nicknames. After a couple weeks, I switched mine out, got a new batch of shirts with the shorter name. This one? I hadn't worn it in at least a week, maybe more. Only threw it on because I ran out of clean uniforms. And yet, here it was, not in the hamper, not hung up. I stared at it for a solid minute, my brain trying to logic it away. I must have folded it and forgot it. Maybe I meant to wash it. Maybe I was half asleep and just left it there. But that wasn't how I did things. I don't fold clothes on the dresser, and I definitely don't lay out a used shirt with the collar straight and the sleeves tucked in. I got dressed slowly, then went through the apartment, room by room, bathroom, closet, kitchen. Every window was locked. Door chained still in place. Nothing missing, nothing moved. The place felt fine. But a few days later, it happened again. Something I couldn't explain away. A few days after finding that old work shirt laid out on my dresser, something else weird happened. I pulled into my usual parking spot after work, tired, just ready to shower and eat. From my car, I could see my apartment windows, especially my bedroom window. That day, the blind wasn't fully closed and the light was on. That was weird. I was pretty sure I turned everything off before I left that morning. But what really messed me up? I saw a shadow. Not like some vague movement or curtain trick, but an actual figure standing right there, like they were looking out, just still. My stomach dropped. I didn't even hesitate. I grabbed my keys and bolted up the stairs, heart pounding, unlocking the door so fast I nearly jammed the key. I rushed inside, and right away I noticed the bedroom light was off. Everything looked fine. I checked the whole apartment, every closet, under the bed, even the shower. Nothing. I tried to tell myself maybe the light had been left on and what I had saw was a trick of the angle. But I know what I saw. I didn't sleep much that night. Then came Saturday. It was a slow Saturday afternoon. I made myself a late breakfast and was half watching TV. The noise filled the apartment like a lazy background hum. The sun was filtering through the blinds, casting long stripes across the floor. Just then, a knock came at the door. I opened to find Brian, my next-door neighbor, holding something in his hands. "Hey, Jay," he said, smiling. "I wanted to return your tool bag. My wife borrowed it a few days ago when I wasn't home. Thanks for letting her use it." I blinked, confused, and told him, "No problem." After he left, I stood frozen for a moment before heading straight to my tool closet, which is right next to the front door. I swung it open, heart sinking when I saw it was empty. My tool bag was gone. I ran my fingers along the shelves, hoping I missed it somewhere. But the space where it usually sat was bare. A cold knot formed deep in my chest. I paced the room, eyes darting to every corner, every shadow, my mind racing through every possibility. How could it be gone when I was sure I hadn't touched it? The air in the apartment felt heavy, thicker. Sounds from outside, the kids arguing, the distant TV noise suddenly felt distant, muffled. My chest tightened. Later that evening, I drove to Home Depot and bought a simple lock for the inside of my bedroom door. Not because I'm afraid, just because I want to know if it gets opened. I have timestamps, GPS logs, photos, all tracking where I am when I'm working. But still, something doesn't feel right. I installed the lock 3 days ago. So far, nothing. I'm back to work as usual, but I'm still lost, still super confused. I've gone through every option in my head. If it's another technician, if it was an old recording, or some mistake. It has to be one of those, right? I don't know for sure. Guess I just wanted to know if anyone else has experienced something like this or has any idea what's going on. I'm planning on moving when I can. If anything else happens, I'll update. I'm not looking for ghost stories or you're haunted type answers. Just want something that makes sense because so far this doesn't. Nothing's been stolen, my dog is still acting normal, no signs of a break-in, but I've never had a neighbor borrow something I hadn't lent out. I never had one of my old shirts folded and set out like that. I've never had anyone confuse me for myself on a day I wasn't there. And the shadow thing, that's the part that I keep coming back to. because it doesn't feel like a random figure or person who's slipping out before I got there. It felt like me watching me, like whoever or whatever was standing in my room already knew how I moved, how I stood. It's like something is playing house when I'm not home. Like harmony of oceans before it, the cruise ship Endless Seas silently docked at the popular port 4 days ahead of schedule, fully functional with all lifeboats accounted for, but completely devoid of all passengers and crew. As the lifelight of the sea was sighted not long after, and in the exact same condition of the 2 ships before it, the decision was made to ground all ships immediately, yet there was no responses from most of them. And with that, our time together is coming to an end. First of all, if you have a story you'd like me to narrate, you can send it to me 3 different ways, either through my subreddit, my email, or my website. All the links are down below. And of course, I'd like to thank the writers who let me read their stories this evening. This one was a truly bizarre glitch in the Matrix. Normally they're very short and sweet, but this one seems to be going on for a very long time for the poor writer. Funny enough, when I first asked to narrate this story, it was about a 10-minute one, which I thought was really good. And then he proceeded to send me a longer, more detailed version that turned into being over a half an hour, and my jaw hit the floor. I'm not complaining on the length. I definitely love a longer true story. I was just dumbfounded by how much longer it was with all his details. I hope with whatever is happening has already ended or will end soon. It doesn't seem to be good for their mental health, nor their job in this matter. Luckily, it does seem like they have a good reputation, that their clients are very trusting on them. Though it's very costly to go and have to do jobs or investigate something when it's not something you should have done to begin with. Thank you again for letting me narrate this story. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button and make sure it feels it. If you're new, please subscribe and turn that pretty little bell to all notifications. And of course, I would absolutely love a comment. Tell me what you think, what kind of stories you like in the future. If you're listening on the podcast and are able to, please leave a review and also a comment. If you'd like to help this channel and podcast grow, please share it with anyone who might enjoy it. If you'd like to help in a more financial way, like these lovely people on screen right now, and get a few bonuses, well, I do have Patreon and members, where for $1 a month you get early access, and for a few more dollars you get extra bonuses. If you'd like to do more of a one-time donation, I do have PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, and Super Thanks. But as always, guys, thank you for watching and listening. It always has, and always will mean the world to me. Sleep tight, and don't let 42 bite.